Here is how to do a regression using a spreadsheet instead. And it's much better. So we're going to take this exact same type of problem. The data changed a little bit from the TI video, but notice that our X's still go from 0 to 4, 6, 8, 10. Our Y's are just different now. So they go from 10 to 21.3, etc. And we're going to punch it into an Excel spreadsheet. The one big difference is that your output function is going to look a little different. So whereas the TI gives you a function of the form a times b to the x, Excel is going to give you kind of more of a traditional exponential that is in terms of the number e. We know the number e. And it's going to give you a function of the form a times e to the kx. Now, it's going to be the same exact curve. It's just going to be kind of written in a different way. And for the purposes of like the QR assignment, well, we can have it either way, actually, right? So I'm not going to specify which way to do it, but this is just what Excel is going to put out. And I would honestly recommend you use Excel because it really makes your graph for you, and it makes your graph pretty and able to be like copied and pasted over to any kind of word processing. Okay, so we're going to take this data, these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 data points, and put them into Excel. So open up a new Excel spreadsheet. Everything I'm saying works on Google Sheets too. It's just a little different. So I can help you figure that out as well. But the process is the same. It's just the way the formatting of the chart and stuff works is a little different. But again, it kind of does it for you, which is nice. Can I zoom in? I can. All right. So I'm just going to enter it into two tables called X and Y. So my X's are 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And it's not even a table. I'm just literally entering it into cells. And then we'll just highlight those cells and say, hey, make me a nice looking graph. And it just will. So our Y values are 10, 21.3, 54.6, 91.3, 172.7, 334.6. Okay, so we can just go ahead and highlight just those numbers. Now go to insert, and we're going to insert a chart, and it has all these different crazy chart types that you'll never even really need to worry about. The quickest way to do it is just to go to this pull down, and it'll give you some different options. So we want to scatter, and notice when you just mouse over it, it just like shows you what it's going to look like. It's pretty convenient. So we just want a traditional scatter. It's just those two sets of data. Notice that without doing anything, our X's are down here and our Y's are up here, right? So that was a lot faster than on a calculator. Okay, let's give our chart a nice title. We don't really know what this stuff is, so let's just call it X versus Y, right? Here's the X's and here's the Y. So now we want to make a function, an exponential function. We want to see that function on this graph. And we also want to know what that function is. Like, what are those coefficients for y equals a times e to the something times x? So there's a couple different ways to do that. I think the fastest way is if you look at this plus sign over here, you can add or remove chart elements, such as Excel calls these trend lines. So the word trend line is just another word for regression. Okay, so it doesn't call them regressions, but you can kind of see why. The trend line is a line that tells you like what's going on with the data. And now when I'm just mousing over it, now it's defaulting to linear. So you can see how fast it is though. I just move my mouse over it and it gives me a linear regression. It tells me here's the best line that fits that data. But we don't want that because our data doesn't look like that. Our data looks like an exponential curve. And that's the point of this assignment, is to do an exponential regression. But it can do any of them. So I would just go over here to this arrow and it gives you some options. So you can do some stuff that you'll never have to worry about. But what we want is an exponential. Now, right away, that's it. There it is. That's the curve. I haven't even clicked on it yet. So let's click on that, and it just pops that onto our graph for us. So that's beautiful. We could copy paste that right now into a paper or whatever and say, here's a chart of my data, right? We can do all kinds of other formatting where we make it look prettier, but whatever. But now, so the only thing we're missing now is what exactly is that trend line? What's the function for it? Like, where are we getting that curve? So I think the quickest way to get that is to go to more options. And it's going to, okay, we want to display the equation right on the chart. So for one thing, we already said we want a linear. So I don't know why I went back to that, but we only want one graph on our graph. So if you go down here to display equation on chart, that's going to be the fastest way to do it. And then we also want, so remember our R squared value, there that is. So right off the bat, it calculates our coefficient of determination for us. And that's 0.998. Remember, the closer to 1 that is, the better. So that's pretty good. That's pretty close to 1. So that says that our data is pretty exponential, and this is a pretty good model. So let's display the equation on the chart and the R squared on the chart, and really, we're done. So let's make that a little bigger. So we want everything to be pretty. We want this to look like the kind of chart you'd see, in a magazine or something. I'd like to make that a little bigger, so I'll just change my font size over here on home, and then I'll move it over so it's not messing with our graph much. Okay, and then we have just a nice graph right off the bat. We've got our title, our chart title. We've got our equation. We've got our 6 data points. We can see they're all visualized. And then we've got our curve and we've got our coefficient of determination all in the same place. So then you could just come over here, copy this, and paste it into like a Word document or something like that. Okay, and that's basically how you do it. So I think we'll all agree that that was a lot faster. Again, if you want to do it on Google Sheets, it's pretty intuitive. You could probably figure it out for yourself, or obviously I can show you. Okay, thank you.